Hello, once again, Red Pill community. It's me, Dorothy Guide, speaking on manhood. Even though no one believes a woman should speak on manhood, I'm going to do it anyway. I think it's important. I would love women to tune into my videos. I would like parents to tune into my videos. I would like everyone to tune into my videos. And most of all, I would love everyone to purchase my book, Manhood Interrupted, an answer for the red pill man, that will be available April 2022. And I will let you know when it is available for purchase. But it is a look at manhood throughout history, where it had an interruption, where it had to kind of change to go with the times and the flow. And I believe we're at such a time now. And the red pill community is saying that pretty loudly, that there's a lot of angst about what's happening, that women made the rules and the policies that got us to this messed up time, and now they won't even let men complain. The red pill community also say that they're trying to understand women so they won't be confused and frustrated. And I believe all of that goes back to understanding self first, and then you can understand other. So that's why I wanted to look at manhood and how it navigated through relationships and changes that were going on, and women did come in and change a lot of things to get their rights. And red pill believe that men's rights may have gotten lost along the way or need to come back, what have you. But a lot of things begin with self, and you can't understand man if you don't understand why man includes male and female, were created. And the origin myth, countries, continents, cultures, nations have origin myth. Why was man created? How was man created? And we know that the Greeks and the Romans have been the most well-known of the origin myths of how man was created. But there are many other countries: China, Japan, the Vikings, the Incas, the other Native Americans, Scottish, all kind of African, all kind of creation stories of how man came to be. And I think we have to start at that beginning point. We only see ourselves as the top of the hierarchy. No matter what, we don't care, no backstory. We're top dog now. It don't matter. We are leaders. Everything is under us and everything. So we do have a self-important stance in life from day one. We are the best. We are the top. But origin myths don't have us the best and the top. So myths are formulated to answer the question, why was man created and for what purpose? And we no longer even ask ourselves that. Why was I created and what's my purpose? Mythology was and is needed to answer the question, who am I? And men are saying, red pill men, I want to understand women, but do you understand who you are? Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? Why am I here? So origins myth answer is an attempt to answer those questions. And we don't feed into the origin myths anymore, but we don't ask those questions anymore. Who am I? Where am I going? Why am I here? Those are big questions. I mean, you want to have children and pour into your children, you have to have something to pour into them. And you never contemplated understood you and who you are. T.D. Jakes said, if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to know when you get there? And I asked that about womanhood with its incomplete definition. If we don't have a defined, correlated definition of womanhood and where we're going to, how are we going to know when we get there? How do we know we've entered womanhood? How do we know when we get there? Same thing with manhood. It don't take anything but the X and Y chromosome to make a man in time and age. You will be a man, but manhood, you must do something to enter into manhood and live in manhood. And if you don't have a defined manhood, how do you know you're there? If you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there? So most of the creation stories of man has his creation as being an afterthought. He was created out of scrap material pieced together. In the origin of man, in Africa, Japan, China, Native American, the creation of man, encompassing men and women, was an afterthought. It was some stuff left over. Let's get it together and it'll form up and be man. Ta-da! What's much thought put into us? We are not as important to the universe as we think we are. The gods, small g, the gods were first. They were the creative beings. They were the one to say, see what I did with my hands, as I talked about. The provider in manhood was proud to say, see what I created with my hands. In the origin myth, it's the gods who are creators. They're the one that made everything. And it started with them first, and then came the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, the heaven, the sky, the sea, and mankind was last, created last on the scale. Now we're at the top. We're the best of the best. But in the creation origins, the myth, man was last, an afterthought. Whatever was left over, put together, we call it man, okay? Man is depicted as powerless, flawed, an afterthought, dispensable, of no value to creation. If we are to believe these creation mythologies, then the feeling of worthlessness is embedded within man's DNA. Nothing new. The struggle, the feel, the way, the rejection that you receive in the workforce and with women in personal relationships, just the worthlessness. Is so easy to be here and then somebody say something and it just drops you totally. What they talk about, your self-esteem isn't high. Well, it takes a hit constantly. And if we are, as the creation myth, the origin myth say, was just an afterthought and wasn't even needed for anything, came about after everything else, then our sense of our worth is very delicate. It is delicate, and it's not being a wimp or sissy or any of those other things. It could just be embedded and encoded in us. And we done pumped ourselves up during time, centuries, eons, to making ourselves very important. More important probably than we think. And you can see that now. Every woman is a supermodel with her makeup. She will get surgery. Every man is a rock star with the right car and the right words, the right dress. We pump ourselves up very high. And like I said, filters. I did a blog on my blog spot about who lies more, men or women, and I may even do a video on it. And the first sentence to any research about who lies more, men or women, the first thing that the writer wants to make clear is we all lie, and we lie a lot. Point blank. Look it up. Who lies more, men or women? And the first thing, we all lie, and we lie a lot. It's the difference is what we lie about. The difference is the things we lie about. Women tend to lie and to make you not feel embarrassed or hurt. So they'll lie to protect your feelings. A man lies to protect his feelings, to make him more than what he is. He embellishes to avoid embarrassment and humiliation. So men tend to lie to avoid embarrassment and humiliation, and women tend to lie to keep you from being embarrassed and humiliated. Because that's why you hear, girl, you're so cute, your hair's so cute, you look so good, and they be toe up, But a man would tell you, you don't look good, girl. You need to go somewhere and sit down with your raggedy head. It is just very different. The difference is what we lie about, but we all lie. So they cannot agree on who lies more, men or women, because we're lying about different stuff all the time. But the one thing is, we don't trust each other at all. Because we lie so much all the time, there is a thread that goes through us that we don't trust anybody. And if we're doing that much lying, maybe it's a good stance not to trust. So we even approach relationships in the first instance of not trusting. And then you get rejected and it's proven, I shouldn't have trusted her. I should have known better. She lying, blah, blah, blah. It is a big blow. So we may have embedded within our DNA from just the thought point of the creation stories that we are worthless and useless and of no import. It wouldn't be, we have a lot embedded in us that we act on that we don't even know that we operate on. What is the auto systematic response? We breathe without even thinking about it. It's encoded in us to inhale and exhale without even thinking about it. Maybe our worth, because it's encoded and we don't think about it, recognize it, and we are coming from a place of not feeling worthy. And we say our parents are the ones that's supposed to bring us up with that identity of value and feeling important and special. In a Christian religion, you know, it says there's no one else like you. You're one of a kind, not a duplicate, specially made. God knows the count of each hair in your individual head. And importance has to be reached for, sought after, incorporated into us. Okay, the origin stories are not concerned with gender roles. There was nothing about the creation to say, hey, I'm gonna create this woman to do this here, and I'm gonna create this man to do this there. So the origin stories don't have gender roles. Gender roles came about later as time went on. And the God's rule and manhood did not exist to do anything creative, of value. The God's ruled and were in charge, and man just existed, you know. In this account of creation, there was not a fall of man like there was in Christianity. He once was here, and then he fell out of favor. And there wasn't a decline. There already was at the bottom. There wasn't a fall in most of the other creation stories. Neither was there a wrestling away of manhood. This man wasn't designated over here and then the woman took from him, as in pretty much as the Christian origin story, which I'm going to do at another time. So there wasn't a wrestling away of identity or its power or anything. He was just lowly to start with, man and woman, equal, interchangeable. When I say man, it means both. So there was no defined roles. Manhood and womanhood became defined by physical attributes needed to survive the harsh environmental conditions and what they needed to do to obtain shelter and food. So you was created as lowly, and while you're living your little lowly life out in the elements and being hungry and stuff, it became a distinct difference that a man could chase a rabbit longer than a woman could chase a rabbit because of his muscular structure. He had more strength. That's just the way it was. It didn't say you was created to have more strength so you could chase the rabbits and kill them. It just was how they were made up. And so the distinctions in the differences between the men and the women became defined as time went on for survival. And I will go into why the women didn't go on the long hunts that could take a group of men 4 and 5 and 6 days because of children. Either she could be pregnant, and then of course she wouldn't be an effective hunter, pregnant, running around with a big belly, or she had children at home. She could be breastfeeding, the children would starve when she went out on a hunt. So it wasn't so much as she wasn't physically able to go on a hunt, but because of the one bringing forth life in a pregnant state or nourishing through breastfeeding state, she couldn't be gone for 4 days on a hunt. So bingo, no big thesis needed on that. Hey, you go. Nobody's going to die if you go on the hunt for 4 days. You won't lose a child during the hunt, and the child won't be lost while you're in the hunt, okay? So roles came about out of necessity for survival, for food and for shelter. Those are the two most evident you can see. And so you would have to ask yourself, if you see these origin stories, and of course, this is just an overview of the origin myth chapter. I actually say some of how actually the man parts were formed, used and formed, and manipulated to create the man and the woman in the book. I'm not going to go piece by piece. You have to get it and read to see what some of the cultures said and believed and on continents and things like that. But it's easy to look up. You can look up origin myths yourself at home and look at and see how the creation of man came about, and that it was an afterthought to the creation of the universe for the gods. So you have to ask yourself, if that is true, what are the environmental conditions now that's formulating manhood and womanhood? What are we doing now in this chaotic time, economically, militarily, relationship-wise, just chaotic? What are the environmental conditions now that are formulating manhood and womanhood? Because the roles that had been before, it was needed for the woman to be in the household, to take care of the children and be the support and manager, and the man, the protector, provider roles. But all of that has changed. All of it's changed. Women can make a large amount of money. Women can go into the military and be a fighter and protector and provider. Women now can go to the sperm bank and get sperm and decide if they want one child or many children without dealing with a relationship where they're in full control of the family and its direction, without co-parenting or anything. A lot of men are having children and not raising them within a home structure. They may have children in 6 or 7 different home structures, and they're not contributing to them financially, emotionally, or any kind of way. So how is all of this survival mode? This is survival mode for the female now. In circumstances of the home she has to get and the food she has to get for the child on her own, whether it's by her own doing or due to the father of the child not being present. Now that she can enter the workforce, and I don't even want to say competition for job now, for survival is between the male and female getting the best jobs that pay the most. And that changed. Everybody know, we went from an industrial nation now. Silicon Valley came. Now it's press a button, press a button, press a button for everything. And that don't take any strength or courage. So that has changed. So what is the survival now in a push button world? Like I said, you can stay in your house and never see the sunlight. Mailman, UPS, FedEx, everybody dropping your package off. You can get all your food, your clothes. Now they got this doll that's in China that is becoming very popular as a mate. Now it's getting to the point you don't even need a flesh and breathing mate. You can order your little mate, but they order brides from overseas too also. But that was done in the Wild Wild West. But what environmental conditions now are going on that's causing a change? And it is causing a change. And you have to decide, what am I going to do about that change? So I hope you enjoyed this look into the origins. That the whole point is we become more in our own minds than is true. Social media has all made us superstars in our own mind. I got 12 likes today. Hey, I'm popping. You know, don't get 1 million. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Okay. So that's it for today. If you want to read some of my articles or writings on womanhood or women's issues, which I do write on, You can go to my blog spot, which is dorothyguyton.blogspot.com. You can find me on Twitter on In Defense of Women. That's the letter N, Defense, DEFENSE of Women, In Defense of Women. You can find me, and please find me on my Facebook page, Dorothy Guyton Author. As always, I like to end that God loves you, you're special, you're important, you're wonderful, and I love you too. And continue to share and discuss and talk about these issues. All right, till next time.